www.fatseonline.com. And some no de mu akotene ni bi enye. Ghana Mampanyin John Dramani Mahama kopiem awa UN United Nations na enei wo hyese wonom nyina betumi agye atum na slave trade ya ekoso emfie bi a etwemu no ye betumi agye atum se eye bone kese etia emra sanso ena osofo ya wo hye ojanhodene so wono so ede tuja etremu se omanyi dumsono enya etwam kra Bank of Ghana na wonum ebo amane ekire se Middle East ntokwa ene Israel US ene Iran wonum ntokwa no wanhwe yi a Ghana yensika yede asie no eho ebetetuma ama yesika no entimi enyina ne naso ofiso emrase bejani enebo amane se ebremu ewose aban ade sika etumi ehye ofiso irrigation process ya ewo honom se de be ya beboa ama tomatoes etimi aba oman mu na oman nankasa etimi a produce tomatoes ensem wei ene de keka ho bie ene ye de besomwo se enwumra no nsia brem kase prime time news wo Fatse TV anunti onso bomodin a na fra wunua bi na montena se na ye de kase no de mo hwam de mo ode ena ye de besomwo ye ne ya yagimre na ye bebe kase yi ade asomwo eye me Obrempong akwasi yaboa mene
AFIA tumwa ketre ye twa ho tiawa ye de kase no nchemu abro
Yes, kase na sene yemfo munchemu wodo emfanso mode a ye be hyase awo United Nations ene dai wonoma setena ya wokoye na ne nyina de na edimu ntintiman ni titrewu aye ebebremu hanom mpanimfo ya waka wono abomu na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama edi wonoma nim kan na wono ena wobone mrane se champion for reparation eno ene se wo hye se ye bedi dwumane ya gye atum na abeye mra se eye bone pa se akane no abrofo no abefa ye nananom ye mpanimfo ahodo ene ebebrem ha nipa ahodo nyina nomum ade wonum akoye nkoa na wode wonum koye adwumaden na nso wantia wonka no ebra so se ye gitum se eye bone na etietie nipa fa ahodie so eno nti esefota se abrofo no etimi agitumuo na wiase nyina fa na agitumuo said ye beya wonum betimi atua empata ediama ebibremu man ahodo na abeboa ama yensu yetimi hu se emfaso bi aba ye man emu efri ye nananom a wonum ebefa womu ediko ye ekodi djuma se enkoa no enso emfaso aba eno nti eneyi wogina UN efikase mu ana wo kire se wosra wo bia se womoa no na abato a wo beto no wontimi anyintum se de beya sa emrai ebetumi agina peme na agina brane na aboa ama human rights enso etimi agina honum Excellency John Dramani Mahama ekasa
notice. Ghana will move a motion to declare the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity. This current draft resolution is a result of months of consultation and consensus building by continental bodies, nations, experts, scholars, and jurists, with the sole aim of achieving a united front and grounding the final outcome in truth, compassion, and moral conscience, remembrance, education, and dialogue. So today we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route to healing and reparative justice. The adoption of this resolution serves as a safeguard against forgetting. It also challenges the enduring scars of slavery. Madam President, let me conclude with two significant quotes by two great leaders of history, one of them white and one of them black. The former President of the United States of America, Theodore Roosevelt, said, and I quote, "With a great moral issue involved, neutrality does not serve righteousness. For to be neutral between right and wrong is to serve wrong." Again, civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King also reminds us, and I quote, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." We've traveled this long road, each step guided by a desire to be better and to do better. Each step bringing us closer to the kind of world we would want. Each step bringing us closer to the kind of world we would want to leave for our children. And so, delegates, on this beautiful day in March, we're called to stand on the right side of history. Let it be recorded that when history beckoned, we did what was right for the memory of the millions who suffered the indignity of the slave trade and those who continue to suffer racial discrimination. Let our vote on this resolution restore their dignity.
Nano and I want to echo na amansan ewiase amansan kubatan wonum kabomu okohyiamu enhyiamudie nen asetena mu no na etsafata se botimi eto aba na His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene ebibremu man ahodo wonum adwumadi a wode beto wo manimu no botimi to so aba na wogitumu se eye no krese wobagye atum se de ebibremu man ahodo wonum ka no esafata se yegitumu na empata sika bi wo honomu a yetimi etuade ma wonum ana eno nti ama ahodo pii no a wobehia honom no obi a enye wobie akwanya ema wonum etimi atuto aba no bia na abatuo no ekọ na wieye no na ne His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ne wo my Ghana ene ebibire mu nyina wonum atimi adinkonim ene wonya ema no mu 123 wo ha ene aduonum yensa ena bonum etimi enyaye na se wotimi agye atumpa se de His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene ewiase ahodo no wonum nsem ahodo a woka no yagetumu a eye na woka se wofa kwambone so ana de esisa ye nananom ade wonum koye ekodi djuma se enkoa no eno nti ebremu esefota se wotua empata ade ma ebebremu amaya ahodo ene wo my Ghana nyina na amaya ahodo adionum mienu 52 ana wonum se hwe ehene ha yeso yempene ne empene kyena eno nti wonum so atutia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene wo my Ghana yen sam ahodo a yede ekoto wonum anim efa reparation no eho no na say ena result no esi ekoye.
Begin the voting process. Those in favor of the draft resolution A/80/L48, please signify. Those against and those in abstention.
The Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/80/L48 entitled Declaration of the Trafficking of Enslaved Africans and Racialized Chattel Enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. Will all delegations confirm that their votes are accurately reflected on the screen? The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 123. Against, 3. Abstentions, 52. Therefore, draft resolution A/80/
Ewo nenhyiamu kɛseɛ yɛ amansan kubatan ɛyɛyɛ na ɛyɛ da soronko a wɔn motu asi hɔ ɛde ɛkan yɛ nananom yɛ akwasi kɔkɔɔ bɛfa wɔn mo nomum ɛde wɔkɔ nkoasom mu no sɛde mampani John Dramani Mahama kɔkasa yɛ kyerɛ hia sɛ wɔn nyinaa gye to mu sɛ saa slave trade no a ɛkɔɔ so no ɛyɛ awudisɛm kɛseɛ a wɔbroni ayɛ ɛde atia ebibrem wɔn mo to aba no na abato no mu no aman mienu wɔn de wɔkasi so gyina sɛ ɛnya de a wɔn mo ɛbɛto aba ɛde ama saa motion no amampani John Dramani Mahama gyina African Union anemu na wɔde abɛto UN ɛnan so no wɔn mo ɛyɛ United States of America ɛna wiase amansan kubatan ya wɔn mo ɛwɔ European Union atenaye wɔn mo nso anye saa ɛhyehyɛ no antumu ɛno nti wɔn mo to aba etiaye na ebra wɔn mo to aba ne nyinaa wieye na wɔn ma kwan sɛ anamusifo a efiri saa aman mienu mɛkyerɛ wɔn ma sɛmudie nti a wɔn mo to aba tiaye no wɔn mo sɛm nyinaa ne sɛ ɛkwan a African Union ɛne mampani John Dramani Mahama fa so ɛde wɔn mo nsɛm ɛbɛto UN Assembly no anim no wɔn mo hu ne sɛ asɛm no nso obiara nyina mu ɛna any legal backing kyerɛ sɛ emra bia so ɛmata akyire sɛ wɔn mo ɛde empata ɛde ama ebibremu na wasan ɛgyina so apɛmu aka sɛ saa transatlantic slave trade no a ɛkɔɔ so no ɛne awudi sɛm kɛse a ewiase amansan ayɛ ɛde atia ebibremu ɛno nti wɔn mo deɛ wɔgye to mu a ɛnya ade a ɛbɛyɛ.
In its opposition and condemnation of historic wrongs that resulted from the transatlantic slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade, and all others. Despite this, the United States observes that the text of this resolution remains highly problematic in countless respects. Consequently, the United States cannot support the adoption of this resolution. We regret that the United States must once again remind this body that the United Nations exists to maintain international peace and security. It was not founded to advance narrow, specific interests and agendas, to establish niche international days, or to create new costly meeting and reporting mandates. This resolution does all three. The United States has defined long-standing objectives to the framing of reparatory justice and the duty of reparation for historical wrongs. While we acknowledge the horrors of the past, we do not accept this resolution's assertion that historical facts from the 15th through 19th century constitute violations of jus cogens, as the term is understood in contemporary international law.
The text before us raises a number of legal and factual concerns that we cannot overlook. First, the use of superlatives in the context of crimes against humanity is not legally accurate, such as the use of gravest in the title and throughout the text, which implies a hierarchy among atrocity crimes, when no legal hierarchy between crimes against humanity exists. It risks undermining the harm suffered by all victims of these crimes and lacks legal clarity crucial for ensuring accountability. We firmly reject introducing ambiguity in this respect. Second, the selective inclusion of lengthy historical and contentious references to regional jurisprudence and selective and unbalanced interpretation of historical events, such as in preamble paragraphs 21 and 23, is at odds with accepted UN practice, as well as the stated universal and forward-looking objective of this initiative. It risks creating divisions when unity is both necessary and achievable. The role of the General Assembly is not to substitute itself to the academic debate amongst historians. Third, we are also concerned by certain legal references and assertions that are either inaccurate or inconsistent with international law. This includes suggestions of a retroactive application of international rules which were non-existent at the time, and claims for reparations, which is incompatible with established principles of international law. The principle of non-retroactivity, a fundamental cornerstone of the international legal order, must be strictly upheld. References to claims for reparations also lack a sound legal basis. Any framework for reparatory justice must be grounded in existing multilateral instruments. For these reasons, the Member States of the European Union regret that they are not in a position to support Resolution A/80/L48, repeating our strongest condemnation.
Na yefiri UN in abepiem awo my Ghana hade a yefa yani entremu awo emrase bedwafie na wo emrase bedwafie no ene Public Accounts Committee na eyefata se wonum etimi kosia na asetena mu ensem bi a esese wonum bobo ho ene obekaya Finance Minister Public Accounts Committee wonum edinsem bi ebetuja sika bi ananka wose wotua edema Ghana wona watimi aye adwuma bi ede ama aban no wotuotua sasika no nyina ede ma wonum eno ena Finance Minister ede kopie mu omrahye bedwafie se wonhwe na wonwendwe ne ho na no ena Speaker of Parliament ebo akire ede ma Public Accounts Committee se wonkotena so na womobo ho na wonsoso adwen emfa ekwan ahodo a sasika sem no emu ensem esitie na no ena wonum Parliament ema wonum na woche miensa na wadwendwe ho a enna nka wo se wotena se na wo si ginaye e wo sansem no ho na eneyi wokotena se na ena edom kese ya wonu mo mrahye bedwafie won nipa wo Public Accounts Committee ne so wo titiwa na wo sanse esore ye edi free committee no ase eno ena honorable Abena Osei Asare wono ena ye chairperson edima committee no ena odin nsem bi etuja se wonte ase se wonum asore edekro ensem bi sei ena wode etuja.
The whip from the majority side says their members are needed in the chamber, even though we are also doing our national duty. So respectfully, without an available ranking, we cannot continue. So on this note, we have to bring our proceedings to an end to accommodate the requests of the majority, even though they submitted this report in Parliament. And Mr. Speaker directed that the Public Accounts Committee sits on this report and in 3 weeks come up with our findings. And so respectfully, we will have to bring proceedings to an end to enable the majority in Parliament go with their members to the chamber, even though this is also a national assignment that we have been mandated to do as members of the Public Accounts Committee. So on this note, I'd like to bring our proceedings to an end. He walked in, he's standing out there and whipped.
I don't see and then no Public Accounts Committee wonum enhemu ya na wotimi etnase etwetwe nkomono etimi amaso na anso a honorable Abena Osei Asare chairperson wasan ekopie mu wo mrahye bedwafie na obusa se Mr. Speaker wa na wosoma yen se yenkodi se adwuman yenkotena se ne yemobu ho na enei yemfa eho pomasibre emfa medamo nanso yekotena se no a ene mrahye bedwafo no edom kese no wonum anyina asore afiri ho ranking member nyimunum nyina asore adi akire eko eno nti yentumi antena se ani nkomo a esefota se yedi eno nti wosre se Speaker ema nadwen no hu kwampa wode sansem no ebetumi dia faso.
We began today. It was advertised and we began today at 9 o'clock. Around 11:15, one of the whips from the majority side walked in and said we'll have to excuse their members. Without their members, because one, if we don't have an available ranking, we cannot continue with the proceedings. So today we had to halt it and ask member invitees to leave and then come back at another time. So I want to seek your indulgence. What is the way forward? One, since it's been referred to us. Two, we have been given some time frame to do this. And three, we called invitees. They were all seated and waiting for their turn. So
wasansem no mu Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafia Mepo wono eneye majority chief whip ena wasode ye no say Mr. Speaker ma menchirechirem na eyensem pi enyoma ahodo pi na ewo se yeba na yetumi ebeka ewo emrahye bedwafie ha efise se wono mo nka ho a business no entimi enkoso eno nti ena yekofre wo mo ebra wo chirechiri mu no say bi ena ode tuja.
Thing that we are not interested in the committee's work is not accurate. We met yesterday and took a decision that because of the heavy nature of business for plenary, committee activities should be suspended till Friday, so that after Friday, the committees can sit. Indeed, we even suggested that after adjournment, the committees can work. Or alternatively, if the committees can sit from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., because plenary starts from 10, then those options were open. But if you fix committee activities that clashes with plenary, the time for plenary, it's hurting our numbers. Because they are the same people who may raise issues of quorum. So, please. So, Mr. Speaker, the Public Accounts Committee, by all means, have the time to do their work. And they have a time frame within which to present the report back to plenary. And that has not been affected in any way. So, Speaker, the concerns of the chairperson is noted, but they have the ability to meet early in the morning or
Jaso ekodi dwabe fie be no aduane no enim se wo bo redwom a tomatoes ahodo mienu ene wo ho ye wo local tomatoes ya Ghana memu ha ya ena wo mudua ene wo Burkina de ye no so wo twasuo ekọ Burkina manum ene kofaba na Ghana adehye bebre ne je Burkina tomatoes ne ho pa fise eho oden aduane nso wo mu kama ya wo digu ho a eche na sesie ya ye kasai Burkina Faso eman no ede kokobo aba se efri sabre ye ko won ntotoye bi a wo ye no won mo bra se ejadifo ye efri Ghana ebetwa suo no ma ba Burkina Faso se wo ba be fa tomatoes aba se de won mo tai eye no no a na nsan ebirim kohyia kofri kwamu wu no asemi aka ho bi ama ejadifo ya ewo oman Ghana mum ashase ebo sujetire said wo ha bebre wo mo papa enye wo mo nko ebema tomatoes ne ho akwatwe na kakra bi a wo mo benya no nso ebema ebo no mu apagya akosoro se wo kodwom se wo akoto tomatoes a wan kasabo a wode ebema ono nyade a wani ebeje ho na New Bode Tomatoes Traders Association wono mo twetwefo ene fache kase atwetwe nkomode afasa wo ha yi eho ene wo kire se afia no enka tomatoes esese ebi wo hoda bia na enso so wo sho my Ghana sede epebre eba ensuo nto na wo mo de aye tomatoes no a wo mo nya no da bia da eno nti no de wo ho ato Burkina de no so a Ghana de no kọ fom no na wo mo kọ akofa aba na saaba ni a abane de ba no be ha wo mo papa nti wo mo sre asoye ehyenuane ne kwadwuma so ne Ghana aban se wo mo ne Burkina mpanimfo enkasa sede be ya wono masama wode atudwa no obetwentwen so kakra ama na boa wonom nipa wone facha kase atwetwen nkomo ene nana achima mansa frempoma wono masre se abanye ne sa ebeboa madwadifo nkomato wonyem na Ghana fo eto tomatoes so womani ebeje
abedu afeda na se woma wo hia ebi odi a na ehunu de to su bi esukra ne ani akasa Ghana ya ye wodam kane no ya damu ani ewo wo de ba local ye wo bosmoche wo de kwa apa east ye wo kwalugu dam wo twam kwa apa east boga na vlongo ya sanso otono kane ame atwema ameka sai me banto osimo no ache ye pa somewhere 1978 na me trader e wo tomatoes na woni ekoto ne ma ne ani susanso bia ne sanse Burkina fo mo besua ye apa east fo no ekodo obi enti ene ehu se nyahwe mo so bedo bi edi a ene na ha die eba fo ma ne cross border trace ne aba beto mo so de yanta dia nsem emreti o ma papa si waka no se ye ma hobi o so de enya bi se Ghana de mai enti aba ma aka wiase fana efa ye Ghana de ye benya ha pa chesi enya ndobi na ba enti aha yɛn ɛne aso kwa asofo na yɛ tontos no yɛnyɛ susanso bebree ama asiesiefo no kɔ ɔmo so to asiesie no so ɛnya wɔ haw ɛboa no ɛkɔ soro nkɔ soro ɛnso yɛn church ɛsɛ papa ne yɛsa no aka adwuma no bi ama adwuma ne bangi sike akɔgye o de ebe yo ayi wɔ haw ama yɛn ɛno aso ne adwuma yɛnsua adwuma bi anka ntosi adwuma ho yɛnsua adwuma bi anti yɛsɛ minister of agric yɛsrɛ na no duru dwom entoma no nto yɛ ma apɛni na anamo a ɔmo gu so a ɔmo tuo no wɔn nkɔ so ntu saa na mo no ne yɛwuru sɛ ne kakra kan
Nana Achima Mansa Frempoma Eko so Ede adesreto abayanim se adia baako a eboa maku adwuma kɔ nanimu pa yensuo enti se won mo hwa no de sika era irrigation mu a enka ebema akuafo no atimi adua tomatoes no afimu nyina afi se Ghana ewo sutade ye dam sahodo bebre ewo ho ye duru baabi a aban epe akwanuasa so na won mo eboa ma ensuo no etena ho da afebo a akuafo no anya bi ede agugu won mo emfudie so afa akuafo no so wo ba wo ma no ho ba se emo mo ye mo nhihye wo mo do mo nkoso no tomatoes na afimu nyina na adwadifo no so wo ho se wo mbeto ama wo
yes ye Ghana president ye wa akoma dadam ye obosomotwe ye wo bonokrom ni nyina dam ho enti esra mama se edu dry season na won kwakwo boa apa yeast for no because your kwalugu dam a na etimi edu mra dry season ye to ho niam a day cast me lodu be 20 cars a day no amwa farmers no afa so owi a eye tono dam kase pa tono dam a eno se ye don't so tono se de kanene ye don't so aka 40 50 80 lodu esro man penny minister of agric wo momoa na sa dam akese de o man penny ehwe dam ne maye na edu dry season na wo mo start asan do me akoto na no wa ohaw no abafom kakra akuafo a ye ka mo ya apa east akuafo no northern sector no yes say wo mo say wo mo hwe de wakina man no ayese me meto ho ne ma bio enti yes farmers o mo apa east so o mo starting san edu dry season
ewo fache news yen kita ho ya ye ne adwadifo di yeyi enei se okopiemu ewo emrase bedwafia ene emrase bedwani ya wono ana wotina mu edema omanfo ya wonum ewo offenso north abato empesua so Dr. Fred Seyi Asamwa enso de nano ato sansem ne mu bi ewo emrase bedwafie no kire se anka wobesre pa se aban yi wamomodin na wonfa sika enfa enko se akomadan irrigation plants ya ewo honum damu a ewo honum no wonfa sika nkosem sabe be ya ebeboa ma akuafo ya wonum edo tomatoes awo ma Ghana mu no wobetumi so enya ensuo na wode agugu entosi ne so na epebre mu sei no Ghana yan kasa so yetimi aproduce entosi ne bie na sabe be ya wonum ekase entosi ho ebekwa atwe ma ne boa yedin no ebetumi asi ano kwan enya sade a ene oman yi yekura hwirenhwiren ewo entosi ene eho ensensem so honorable Dr. Fred Seyi Asamwa Ensem Seyi and Wakan.
Mr. Speaker, I therefore call on government and relevant stakeholders to accelerate the expansion of Akmadan irrigation scheme, scale up modern technologies such as drip irrigation, and continue investment by the previous government in the rehabilitation of existing systems, integration of irrigation with storage and processing facilities, support for farmers through credit, inputs and extension services, and improvement of feeder roads to link farms to market efficiently. Mr. Speaker, the people of Offenso North constituency and Ghana are not asking for charity. They are asking for opportunity. With the right investment, Offenso North constituency can meet Ghana's tomato demand year-round, eliminate the need for risky cross-border sourcing, stabilize prices for consumers, create employment across the agricultural value chain. Mr. Speaker, the rising tomato prices, the heavy post-harvest losses, and the tragic loss of life of Ghanaian traders all point to one clear conclusion. Ghana must invest heavily in irrigation-driven agricultural systems to support all year-round farming, and the people of offense.
Nana Kwakubofa, any Osofo ya wano eneshe Omai Ghana agriculture any enyane eho ensem so. Honorable Eric Opoku edi nkomo no so echide mu se ane eyenokre na entosi no eho ensem no ne ka no ayekana. Enkameya ye se entosi no ye womu abano ahodo pii. Na wo bepiem wo Omai Ghana mu a eno ho ensem kan ye na aye bibie wo ho. Eno nti na de ekoso no ebra honorable Eric Opoku edi ensem bi etu dwan sei ena okano.
Approximately 300,000 metric tons to close before we can attain sufficiency in tomato production in Ghana. But we have to understand, we have to have a better appreciation of the challenge, the root cause of it, before we can prefer the appropriate solution to deal with it. While our counterparts in Burkina Faso are doing 18 tons per hectare, we are doing 8 tons. So what is the problem? The problem is the seed, the variety that is used in the production of tomatoes. And so we have decided, and this morning we had a meeting with WACI of Legon and some of the research institutions, and they have given us the assurance that they can give us a variety that can give us more than 20 tons per hectare. Yeah. More than 20 tons per hectare. So we are asking, we are committing them, we have made some resources available to ensure that we develop that variety to bring a lasting.
Yeah, right.
Dr. Johnson Esiama eye Amrado ya wada omensi kakrabia Baltime Bank of Ghana ano. What do you just say? Middle East in Tokwaye koso America Iran. And afe Israel for entemo no se empenifo anhwana one man so no tentemo a ebetumi akofa wo how e de abrewi asiama nsansi kasam ya o my Ghana eyi ne ho fremu bia enye yi. Wo kyeremu a empepi no entokwa chenkyerence sei koso a won e wo fom no ho kyere won papa fi se empeni sei sa wosono eto fom ewowura mu a ensensan ya watoso no na ya na ahokyere no efiri eho eba eno nti de wobesre ene se mpanimfo entutu omanamo nsisi ye na wano won mo hwese woni aman miensa beka bomu na won mo akasa na wachi won mo asi kwanpa no so na de akofa ntokwa na banyina won mo asomdue bua no na timi aboa ama amaman sikasem etumi agina brane na anya sade a o my Ghana enyere ne tamu ye papa e de wo ha kakra be bro man sikasem nanso wo ma ye o man sikakra bia Baltime no ade ba ko o mpeso o mo eye ene so de hihye begu akwamu ama se external shocks no eba pa o my Ghana mu mpanimfo ebetimi aso anon kakra nanso ogidie ni arehwemu se enche entokwa no nyina beba awieye ama ewiase amansan ho atowonum wode sansem nyina kotu dwa ebra Ghana Export Import Bank share international conference bia na wonmo ede ehye wonmo frishia edu ehofa.
And for us, that is something we brought along. We listen much more. We want to hear what you say. And then we design the policies. I can tell you what it was like when we got it. And by the way, we did a lot of preparatory work. When we got in, we knew exactly what we were walking into. It was like having a patient who was under treatment for a long time by another doctor. Remember the macroeconomic situation at the time. High inflation, exchange rates, volatility here and there. From 2022, lots of liquidity was injected. And it was like a patient that has had blood transfusion in excess. Just too much blood has been injected. No matter what you do, it won't be effective. No matter the policy you implement, it won't be effective. And so we have to set to work to drain the pie. We needed to remove that liquidity from the system. That has come at a cost. We will soon be publishing our financial accounts, and you see. But it was a necessary measure to ensure that our interventions will be effective. That is why you saw inflation in the year at about 5.4%. That is why you see the CD end of the year around 10.4, which I must be frank, was a surprise to myself. I knew the CD could appreciate. I did not know it could appreciate that extent. So that's how the year last year ended. We had to do a lot of that work. But we incurred a lot of costs in that regard. When I assess the cost we have incurred, it's not fatal. It's not fatal in the sense that it's like a one-timer cost. If we went into each of those costs, they are not costs that we repeated this year. What is important, therefore, is for us to be able to maintain the gains. But unfortunately, as some of you be aware, we have the Middle East crisis knocking on our doors. What we call global economic shocks, geopolitical shocks. They are some of the things we have to contend with. For now, our hope is that crisis will be a short-term one. That somehow the crisis ends in a short time. If however it persists, then we will have to design some different policy measures to contend with. But no worries, this is not the first time Ghana's economy is suffering global shock. Who gets the way? We are in contact with the Ministry of Finance and the other government agencies what to do, and at what time. So the contingency measures are in place. Our reserves levels are comfortable. We are in sync with the other players of government. And I'm sure we'll pull through this one as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for those introductory thoughts. When you see
ma yensu akase ne so ema enche pi ye bo wamane se edom kuma ya wonum akomrase bedwafie ede nsem bi enkomo bi abetuja na wontire mu nyina ne se Ghana sukufo aban afa won hoka na wosua de awo UK abrotimamu ene Ghana aban edeka wontimi ntua wonum sukuu fees eno enam so na etwetwe aso na enam so ama enei okopiemu awo UK Ghana's commissioner deputy commissioner ya bobo honum edema wo my Ghana wosi wo my Ghana namu awo UK no abo amane se eye no kre na Ghana yedeka 32 million euros eno ene sika botina anase eka wo my Ghana yede universities ahodo a wonum awo UK abrotimamu eno nti enam so bi ene se wo bon konton ekoshe woti a emfie no afi bese 2020 no mu no ni nyina eka bi edida honum a besi enei eno na enam so bie ama eka no akeka bomuo na afi de ene Ghana ni UK kura no wonum ntam eya ye basa efa school semsem ehwo eno nti enam so bi ama esukufo no wonum ho e kire won pa na bra commissioner yi Mr. Kwansa Akwena ene ensentrofo edi nkomo no wodi muntire mu sei ene to wonum anim
money. You get your money to pay the arrears that we owe the schools way back from 2020 to now. So if we are able to clear, I don't think any of them will find themselves in that kind of situation anymore. We are doing what we can as a commission to get money to clear those debts. And I think you know about how much we owe the schools. I mean, it's like a whole ministry's budget. You know, you're talking about £32 million. That is a lot. But we are trying just to make sure we clear those debts so that the children can go home. Because of that, I think since 2025, we've not been able to give any scholarship to this country. Because no school will accept you if you owe others. So we will do everything that we can to make sure this particular program is resolved.
And on that score, have you engaged the students, giving them any form of assurance?
I think we do that continually. I mean, we do that. We even engage the schools themselves. Not only the students. We engage the students, we engage the schools. And I believe we're trying to we'll find a solution to that very soon. But it's not an easy. All the schools want is for them to be paid.
Nanum hobi Ghana for binumu shasiye edidi nkomo EFA National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat Ochanitia eka ne 9 months for dwumadi ho. Ni nyina ne sa brebia ya mpanimfo yi ebetu na mo no akopam galamsefo no ya woje niema excavators ene mfidi ahodo na Ghana fo bisa sesa mfidi ni nyina ewo he edru ba bi kra na ye huhu se binumu ho a wo moje ekogu aprosifo akachi ade beche na yera firi ho a won ehunum asem ya ka ho bi ama 9 months mpanimfo frɛ ensemtrefo nhyiamu akyerem won mo say emfidi a won magye efiri bra 9 months hye ne dwumadi ase nyina no ba kokora nyira ye won mo de ne nyina kogu ba bi a eye se de mpanimfo akyerɛ wonnom ama enipa ehwa so den tinipa bonefo bia ntimi mfiri won mawra enkofa mfidi ni bi emfiri ho na ebrepem won mutie futuo e de afiri mpanimfo a esefata ho na wo mahwe ba bi poten ya wode emfidie ne kwa ebeboa ama mpanimfo edi won mo edwuma nipa wogina 9 months anemu na nsemtrefo nhyiamu yase wokasa ya Director of Operations Colonel Dominic Boa wose sese de won mo etwan ene se Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources ebebo adoma no se aha ena momfa mfidie ne mra ene entempa no na ba bi a won de akogu wa de kradem no won masesa edeko
is intact. And I reiterate that every excavator seized by NAMOS is intact. And accountability, the ministry will render account, and the government will take a decision on what to do. But NAMOS has them safely at locations that when they call, I'll give you. The weapons too are intact. I've received a letter from the Small Arms Commission, and through the ministry, this weapon will be documented and disposed of. Next. So these are further statistics on what NIMOS is doing. Operational summary, region by region, and the strike rate, region by region. Move on. Next. Chamfan details. Now, so with all this, next, combining the number of arrests that we've made, then weapons seized, which is a huge risk. Let me say that reclamation is something we also supervise. At Mansour Dubia in Ashanti region, over 800 acres of land, we supervise for it to be reclaimed. And last month or so, I think the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources was there. And these are huge positive gains which NAMOS is making. The arrests, the seizures, the excavators, and let me say that a lot of structures, illegal mining structures, especially along waterways, have been destroyed. These activities continue to impose huge cost on the Ghanaians. The more we impose the cost, the less they will get the money to go back to the place. But let me say that there are other means where we are trying to stop them, because, as I mentioned, the Responsible Cooperative and Development Program.
Kenelboa etwa so say 9 months for dwumadi mu no enya se won mo eba abepam womanfo a won nam kwan pa so etuf magudie mine ne de bekoso a aya adwuma e wo Ghana ha na mom won ya won mo fa kwati kwan so eya wo fra won mo galamsefo no ene won mo dwuma won mo die nsunsanso bone e de bra womanfo apomuden ena 9 months for abasa won mo ebekun etia.
You can stop mining in Ghana. Well, I don't believe it. Mining, as His Excellency the President keeps saying, will go on. However, it's the sustainability which we are looking at. The health impact, the risk, the galamsey must be stopped. So we're looking at sustainability of mining. Those are the 3 pillars: prevention, restoration, and sustainability of mining. Now, as part of that work, there was a key element that the committee identified, and that was coordination. Coordination appeared to be lacking, even though all the previous initiatives have good intents and purposes. They all geared towards addressing it, but because we didn't have clear coordination, everybody, every institution was doing their own thing. And therefore, when this happens, you realize that we cannot control the allocation of resources. Then also, we cannot point at a target. There will be duplication of effort and so many things that were meant to bring us good results, but then control. So the committee recommended that there should be a coordinating body. And that coordinating body fortunately gave rise to what we are having today as NIMOS, the National Anti-Illegal.
Owie ye no de kokobota to ema galamsefo no. Wase se wani soso a ensoso nchan aprenkrensi made. Enti se de mpanimfo kan se yemfani hahane nkwabo aprenkrensi mafie no. Sa pepepe na galamsefo no fanto omukotodwem. Na wo munyai se abrebia wo mudi dwuma na abambofo ebeba pini wonom no opesa wone wo mudi siani na wonim tuoto a wonim eto ensene osojani ya wono ofantitiemu emfie bebre na waye adwuma no so ache enti se wonia wodi sia wo mudi betwa.
NIMOS will not stand by and watch people use weapons against us. We are better trained in the weapons, and therefore I'll send a warning out there once again that anybody who does, NIMOS will deal with them ruthlessly. It is a problem that we are trying to address, but we have the right to self-defense. And let no galamsea miss that. If you go to the field with weapon and you try to fire it, a lot more will be at you.
Abusia yentua kase ne so na yemfa de aka enka ho mawo na yekoso a His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene emre bi yebebo wo mane se ene nam framam se okopiemu ewo United States of America Lincoln University wonum ayen siseye se wo hwe na wabebo na baso na se de Korea fo wonum bo na baso na wonum ema no doctorate degree honors no se bi ena nanka Lincoln University wonum ayen siseye na wodi abasobodie bi saa ede ama His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na enai entiya yetie ene se Lincoln University fo wonum se wonya amo na baso biem adentia ne nyina ene se His Excellency John Dramani Mahama enkamya ye se wonum waye nhwehwemu ahunu se wonhu ne ginabia ewo ntunumu ne ntafrentafre no wonhu ne ginabia wo ho se wobeji atum anase wonyi ntum eno kura kan ho bi ma ene ukopiemu said anti-LGBTQ won hon siseye akoda mrase bedwafie na ehon siseye no NCP ni ade no se woje atum ne wanye ntumu ni nyina nti no ane nei woka asisupi se wonfa abasobode ene honors degree no emfa ema no biem wache asensen na no ena His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ene wono so bepiemu o magana mu a woye Kristoni pa wode ne ho amawrade o empire woni Assemblies of God for wono maka one time abom ene woye asoreba eho an wosom eno nti Assemblies of God for etisa enkraiboya ana wonum se ye ne ti papa se entity ya ne nkyerɛkyerɛ hodo a His Excellency John Dramani Mahama bo asade a yetimi adema no yi wode di dwuma se yanje tunumutu ene ntafrentafre entum wo magana na no anti wode ne nan asifom na ebesim na wanye ntumu no na se UK fo ana se US fo Lincoln University fo se eno nti wo mo na baso a ene ye Assemblies of God fo ye bebo na baso na ye ta na chi wo anamontu a watuo wo mo ta na chi peme wonkoso a na wo mo omanyi eho ban enfri saa akwamone ya abrofo no epese ye faso na yediku ye ho animu ase no anoti Assemblies of God Ghana wonum enebo amane se water His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wonum asoreba no water na chipa se womwa na sa entrumutu ne de womon firi ho womogu kura eni kwan se wotimi agitum abo my Ghana mu na sa UK fo no de ene wodi wonum akira obeye bone na wakoye de eni kwan se yeye anoti His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na sorema Assemblies of God for ena wonum ebo na baso na woka kire ne se wo ma na ba mu ewo anamontu obotuo no eho kra wonkoso na wonyina ne nan so na wonfa nyamesom mapa emfa eni ne juma se de be ya beboa ama nyamesom pa ya Assemblies of God wonu wo kire no ebetumi akosoa na edimu na ewiase nyina hu se nyame na yesom no sabi wo kire bone wo kire ntafrentafre ni tumutum anon eye asema Assemblies of God wonum edi abeto eja. Yeah. I said, oh, here.
Area na Ghana mai adehye said Assemblies of God asafono mpanimfo aka no Obrempong so aka sisudua se Nyankopon kiri ntafrentafre ene ntrumuntu no ha na yede kase ni nyina esi anwumre Millennium Construction adaroma ene oboye nchidom na yede kase besomo wonom ye adwumaku a wabene akwadare pa e construction works mu se yadansie hu niema na wo pa topila mold anasa blocks a Millennium Construction ewobi sanso na wo pensa aseto de mankrofo ensase no so ye de manso ni hu ya obi a meha wona be yo project asomdwemuli enti ba bia wo pe asase ni bia ne sade ne kase tie no fa ho bo Millennium Construction for afei wa wo asase ni bi na apesa wo ton anasa wo pesa wo ye wo fie renovation siesie mafie ne sini dada mu bi mu a Millennium Construction American Fortune Kumase Boshen na ya junction adwumakuo yi etwakwan ewo fa numbers no ego screen ne so no na enempanimfo enkasa wo ha no eye construction dia Millennium wo mo na abene 15 years experience into obesom wo yie ama wani gie ewie wo peye wo mo da roma na anwume ya besom mo makenkanfo eye me AFIA tumwa ketwe mene
Obrempong akwesi yaboa
yada mu nyina se emamumo ene hwa anwume ya enyado